the way that they brought them both into the movie was, I think, fantastic.
Yeah.
Always.
Spider-Man No Way Home. That's the reaction that everybody gave this movie after seeing it. We're going to talk everything about this amazing movie today. First of all, welcome back to Unlimited. It has been a very long minute. So I appreciate everybody tuning in, back at it. Going to try and grind out as many of these as possible before school starts again. But yeah, Spider-Man No Way Home, one of the biggest movies really of all time. Had to do a podcast on it. We've been talking about it for like the past year on this podcast. So I felt like I had to give my reaction to it, or a reflection, I guess, of this movie to the viewers. So Xarius is back. Had him on about a year ago talking about WandaVision, and he is back now. Xarius, how are you doing today, first and foremost?
I'm doing great. It sucks that this lockdown has us like this right now, but
yeah,
but it is what it is. Hope everyone's staying safe, and hopefully we can get back to normal soon.
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, I'd love to be doing these shows in person and like having, a set and having you over and talking about it in person.
Yeah.
But virtually is kind of what we got to deal with right now. And yeah, it's tough right now being in Ontario, especially. But let's hope things get better very soon. And unfortunately, movie theaters are shut down now. So if you haven't seen this movie yet, I'm very sorry. I am extremely, very, very, very sorry that you have not been able to make it to a theater. I know a few people who still haven't seen it, and they're still trying to not get spoiled. I don't know how they're doing that, because like it's all out there now. If you have TikTok, if you have really any form of social media, it's kind of all out there. But before we get into everything, I guess, spoiler warning, like we're not going to hold back anything in this one. We've held it in for so long. We're going to talk everything about this movie. So if you haven't seen it and you don't want to get spoiled, then, come back after you've seen it. But Xarius and I have gone through a lot with this movie, lots of discussions, lots of theories, like just leading up to this movie as well. Obviously, like the biggest rumor heading into here was Tobey and Andrew, or Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, going to appear in this movie. We got some answers while watching the movie as well. But yeah, let's just start kind of like what was your initial, I guess, reaction? I was there with you, obviously, so I know.
Yeah.
But what was your reaction to finally seeing this come to fruition, I guess?
So many different types of emotions. So many. There was excitement. There was times where you felt sad. And I feel like a lot of people don't realize that this movie had a very sad ending.
Yeah, man.
Very sad ending. And a lot of people were clapping at the end, and there's just me just sitting back in my chair, and I had like little tears in my eyes. I'm like, man. But overall, I think it was very well made. Very well made. Probably one of the most exciting movies I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy to have seen that in theaters, and I've seen it on opening night. I don't think I'm ever going to have a reaction like that for a movie again.
Seriously, like just seeing it on opening night with like every Marvel fan, and just hearing the reactions to so many amazing scenes in that movie. Like I want to go back and just relive that.
I know.
And I was even telling you before, like I want to record the audio just so I could like listen to it back. But luckily, I mean, just go on social media, like you'll see all the theater reactions. So like that's kind of similar to what we experienced. And yeah, like the ending is so sad. I don't think I have to go in order with this podcast. Like we can kind of just say what we want. Like there are some really sad scenes, like you said, like
there are
like Aunt May, like that's like you've seen it twice in theaters. I've seen it twice in theaters. I cried both times. I think you've cried both times as well.
Yeah.
That's just a really tough scene because it just dragged on, and like you kind of knew she was going to die, but then like they prolonged it so that it gave you a bit of hope that she was going to walk out and make it out okay. And then she drops, and yeah. And then yeah, like the ending too. I think, after seeing it, I was like, wow, like they just kind of ended the arc. Like it's done now. Like they forgot who he is. It's kind of over.
Yeah.
It's a sad ending, but also it's kind of like the perfect ending too in some way, right? Like he's kind of moving on from his friends now. He wants to make sure that they're safe and he can kind of just live his own life now. So there's two kind of ways to look at it. It is extremely sad though. Like the ending gets me every
Yeah.
time too, right? It's
Yeah.
so sad.
And I feel like they kind of left it in the same way as all the other Spider-Man movies as well, right? There's always that sort of like sad ending to all the Spider-Man movies, right? On how like Peter Parker can go about living on his life, right? So
Yeah.
keeping that trend, you kind of see it and be like, oh, I actually feel bad for these guys.
I know, right? It's like every Peter Parker's fate is just to have a sad ending, it
Yeah.
seems. So
Yeah.
we need to get some happy ending at some point for at least one of the Peter Parkers. And like with Toby, I guess it's his is kind of unclear really what exactly happened, but like he lost a lot throughout his 3 movies. Andrew obviously lost a ton throughout his 2 movies, especially Gwen. And I just recently watched Spider-Verse again because it was such a good movie, and like just seeing like Spider Gwen and like what she had to go through too, right? She couldn't save Andrew, or she couldn't save her Peter,
Peter,
not
Peter,
Andrew.
her Peter.
It could have been it. No, another Andrew variant or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's just never a happy ending for these Peter Parkers. But yeah, we'll get into the story a little bit later. But just going back in time a little bit, it was around, I guess, this time last year where all the rumors kind of started and the rumblings about who would be in this movie. And I think the first one that was confirmed was Jamie Foxx as Electro. He's coming back. And then people started getting hyped like, oh, maybe Toby and Andrew, they're on set, right? That was like a rumor that they were on the set of No Way Home. And then you hear the rumors of Alfred Molina coming back as Doc Ock. And then we finally get that confirmation in the trailer, in the first teaser trailer, which was epically done as well. Both trailers were great. And then the Willem Dafoe rumors as well. And then you finally get confirmation in the trailer as well that he's coming back. I guess that was in the second trailer, really, because we saw the Goblin bomb in the teaser trailer.
Yeah.
But then we finally like hear his voice in the second one. But then it was just Toby and Andrew. You know, those are like the 2 last ones. Like Sandman and Lizard, I think their actors were confirmed, although they never actually shot new scenes for this movie. Those were like old scenes that they just reused. But yeah, Toby and Andrew, like what were you thinking? I guess like I was with you, so I know, but like just for the audience, like what were you thinking heading into this movie, just like anticipating whether they would be in the movie or not?
You know, me and you, I feel like we tried to stay away from social media on the day of for the longest time, as much as we could. And our movie was like at 10 o'clock at night, so we would have had people seeing it before us as well in Ontario. So it was kind of hard as well to stay away from social media. But I wanted to be along with the fans and say like, oh yeah, they're in it. But I also wanted back my mind to say I don't want to know if they are in it or not.
Yeah.
Right. But going into the movie, I had no idea. I just didn't want to know. I was like, they're probably not going to show up. It's probably just like a teaser or something. But in the back of my mind, I always knew that I want them to show in there. And the way that they brought them both into the movie was, I think, fantastic.
Yeah.
Always. in all ways imaginable.
And I never would have guessed that they would do it like Ned is the one to open a Doctor Strange portal, right? And then to come in.
I love that.
And I want to talk about
how they give him powers. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I want to talk about that scene in specific because like our reaction was pretty crazy in the theater. But yeah, like you're right. The first couple of days, I guess, once it was released, because it was released on the 15th, in the UK.
Yeah.
And yeah, we just didn't want to see any spoilers. So I deleted Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, like everything, I guess a day prior to when we were going to go see it. And luckily I avoided all spoilers and we went into the theater wearing like earphones, and I was trying to talk to you. You were just like not having it. Like you didn't want to listen to anything I was saying or anything around us. Yeah, I remember like because we went with 5 other people as well, and they were all super
Yeah.
hyped. Like Arish was saying, like this is like my Christmas present. Like we were all so hyped for this movie. But it was a challenge getting tickets. I gotta say this first. It was a major difficulty getting tickets, especially on Cineplex. I think it was a lot easier to get it like for AMC in the States, but
Yeah.
Cineplex website just kept crashing and crashing and crashing. Like, and I think it's like Marvel said tickets get released on the certain date at midnight.
Midnight.
So we were on our laptops refreshing the website, seeing if the tickets would get released. And they weren't. We waited, I think, maybe 2 hours. We were trying to get on and we just could not get on the site. There was like, I think a movie for Into the Spider-Verse, I think.
Yeah.
That was showing that we could go watch, but not Spider-Man No Way Home, not the one that we wanted to see. And then finally Cineplex announces the next day that tickets are going on sale at noon. So we're ready this time. We're more ready. And it took us about 40 minutes to finally secure these tickets.
Man, just to get into the website alone, I feel like it was about like half an hour just to get like into the website.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, 45 minutes to get these tickets, and it was so stressful.
I know. And like, so like we were both doing it, and like one of ours was like kind of ahead, and then one of us got like stuck, and then we finally made it to like the next step, which was like the seating. We finally got to the seating, and this is for like the 7 o'clock one too, right? There was like two available.
Exactly.
There was 7 o'clock, and then there was like 10:55. So we tried the 7 o'clock one first, and I had to get 7 tickets. So I tried like I don't know how many different seat combinations, like 5. None of them which we were together, like all 7 of us together.
We were all separated.
We're all kind of separated, like somewhere in the same area, and none of them worked. Thankfully, I guess none of them worked. So then we had to back out, risk backing out, and going to the 10:55 one, and then we finally secured the 10:55, 7 seats in a row. And we got great seats. Like those were really good seats. IMAX.
They're amazing.
So yeah, that was hectic, but it was just all part of the experience. Like that's what made this movie so good,
I know.
right?
It really did. Yeah.
Just the stress and the anticipation for it. So yeah. Let's talk about this movie and let's talk about Toby and Andrew and their entrance and some of the other reactions that we experienced. And like obviously the thing heading into this movie that we kind of knew what was going to happen was the multiverse is going to be explored, and also the idea that Peter's identity is revealed to the world is going to get explored as well, which we have not seen in any Spider-Man movie to date. The 7 prior, we had not seen that happen. So how is the world going to react? How is Peter going to react? And the first surprise cameo came very early on con of that whole situation with all the legal troubles Peter was getting in. And it was Charlie Cox's Daredevil who came in, and you see the cane, and we were pretty excited. You know, we knew that was kind of speculated he might be in it or not. And, you know, the theater gave a decent cheer to that. I'm sure some people didn't really know who that guy was. And I haven't even watched the Daredevil show, so I'm not like a huge fan, but it was cool to see that. Do you think he was given enough screen time though? Because that's kind of the debate, I guess, coming out of the movie.
Yeah, so I actually haven't seen the show either. Yeah. But I have seen like a few episodes in the first season. I'm actually watching it right now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and his acting is amazing. Is amazing in his seasons or in the first season that I'm watching right now. I think they should have given him a lot more screen time.
Yeah.
I think there should have been a lot more. I know like he was acting as like advice, like a lawyer advice, right, in his house. Mm-hmm. Maybe they could have made him his lawyer like at the police station as well.
Yeah.
And had a bit more, but again, the movie has like a time limit and stuff, but that could have been an option of like trying to introduce him at the police station when Peter was being questioned.
That's true.
Initially, right? Maybe they could have given him a bit more screen time there.
Do you think they could have like also brought him back for like some of the battle scenes, like maybe the one like at Happy's apartment, like that whole battle? Do you think that you would have liked to seen him more in action, more so, or?
No. I think this was a good introduction. I think we introduced him quite well into the MCU,
Yeah.
and I really hope there's an opportunity for like Team Red to like come out into this as well. You know, have you seen those little rumors out?
Team
Team
Reddit.
Red, there's
Are you talking about like Deadpool? Is that kind?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I think it's definitely a possibility. Yeah. Like, and I agree. I don't think he should have been in the movie for like that much longer because it wasn't his story really. It was more about the
exactly.
Spider-Man and the villains, right? So
Yeah,
it's, but yeah. And I think like maybe it was a little bit too brief, like just one quick scene. And also I think
yeah, I
the
know.
one thing that did seem a little bit brief was when he came in and when he was introduced, the first like line he said was, well, Peter, it looks like all your charges, like they're gonna be okay, like they're all gonna be let go. It's just like that. Like, I don't know. That
Yeah,
kind of seemed a little bit too quick. I know that's not the story. Like, that's not the main story of this movie, but I would have liked to have seen him deal with that a little bit more harshly. And I know that like he didn't get
yeah.
into to college, obviously. And, his aunt wasn't like his aunt was getting questions and MJ was getting questioned. Ned was getting questioned, but maybe there could have been more to that story. It just kind of seemed a little bit too quick. Like he kind of got out of
Yeah,
trouble a little bit too easy, but it looks
yeah.
like Happy
But
might be in some hot water though too, because I think he was getting accused of some like Stark thing getting into the wrong
oh
person's hands.
yes, yeah.
Yeah,
So he might be in some legal trouble. So you never know.
maybe. Yeah,
But maybe a little bit more screen time, but not too much.
yeah,
But I think it was more of just like an appearance thing,
yeah. I think so too. Exactly. Just a
like
brief
a guest
cameo.
appearance or something, right? Like
That's a good way to look at it too. Yeah, and yeah,
yeah,
I'm not saying I hated it or anything. Like I love this movie. Like this movie's perfect.
yeah.
And just having him in there was just a cherry
And
on
that's what I
top.
was
Like,
gonna say.
yeah, you didn't need to do it,
Yeah.
but they did it. So
No, exactly. And to have all these actors and actresses together in this movie must have been just amazing experience for them alone, right? To all act in one big movie like this.
exactly, yeah, just like a big family reunion. Just
Yeah.
all the Spider-Mans from all the different franchises coming together. Yeah, except for
Yeah.
Kirsten Dunst and Emma Stone,
Uh
which they were rumored to be in it if not for COVID. So COVID's messing everything up. But
yeah.
um, yeah, moving forward, like I said, because of everybody knowing Peter's identity, was not able to get into MIT, the school that he and MJ and Ned wanted to get into, and that influences him to go to the man down the street, Doctor Strange. And
Yes.
you've seen the trailers; they've messed up the spell, and everybody starts coming in, and that's a crazy sequence too. Like the visuals of the scene in that like dungeon in the sanctum, like that was our first kind of look at the multiverse. Like we've seen it a bit in Loki, but like just the unraveling of it was really cool to see. And then like all the images of the villains and like the purple magic coming
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just really, really cool to see. So what happened when they messed up that entire spell is it brought in all the people who knew Peter's identity from, I guess, a lot of different universes, but somehow Doctor Strange contained the spell. That's what I'm kind of thinking, right? He contained the spell so that only Doc Ock came in, Sandman, Lizard, Green Goblin, and Electro, and then also the two Tobys. But
Hmm.
also was Gwen Stacy in this universe just walking around somewhere? Was Mary Jane in this universe just walking around somewhere? Um, do you think that's exactly what happened? Do you think it was only limited to those people because Strange was able to contain the spell in that like magic box? Or do you think those people were actually like out there in the MCU?
Well, you know what? Because I feel like I'm moving a lot in this story because it all ties
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
together. But like when they go to like the mirror dimension, he goes on to explain that people are coming in from other dimensions, and if we don't stop it, they'll all come in.
Right.
Right. So when he said that, I think because you were sitting next to me and you were just like, oh, does that mean
Yeah.
other people are coming in too?
Yeah, right. I was thinking like Toby and Andrew, I think, at that time.
Okay, so I at that time I was thinking like, oh, like MJ, we got Gwen.
Oh,
We
right.
can
Yeah.
we can maybe have like all the Aunt Mays are coming in as well.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be like a massive like family reunion.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this
Seriously.
is gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
So when he said that, I'm just like, oh, there actually could be a possibility that they're just floating around somewhere,
Yeah.
right? But they're just not in the story,
Definitely.
you know? And then jumping to like the end, when they send everyone back, they obviously all go back.
Yeah. And that's
right.
like
So
like Venom, for example, right? He was a part of the spell that brought everybody into the MCU.
yeah,
But that
yeah.
but then we just didn't see him throughout the events of No Way Home, because I guess he just didn't realize like where this battle was taking place, or how to find Peter, or something, or he was just, being Venom, just chilling, at the bar, right? Yeah, so I guess that's the explanation. But and then I guess also, like, if Strange hadn't contained the spell into that box, then maybe more people would gradually
I think so.
come
Yeah.
in. And then also, like when they first messed up the spell, you saw him like bringing all the energy like down and containing it. So I guess that also prevented literally everybody coming in as well. I think right when he said it brought everybody who knows Peter Parker into the universe, that's when I was like, oh, like literally everyone, like Harry, like
oh yeah, all the Harrys. I thought both of the Harrys were gonna come back as well.
Yeah, that would have been
and make like a little scene, and that would have been really, really fun to see.
Yeah. And then we got like a tease, I guess, of Harry when Toby was talking to Ned about having a best friend. And there's always the chance that Ned can turn bad and turn into like the Goblin or the Hobgoblin.
A bad wizard.
Yeah, or a wizard. Yeah, like he's got some magical Doctor Strange power now.
Exactly. He's magic now.
He is literally magic. Yeah,
as he says.
Maybe he could appear in Doctor Strange too, but it's so weird because it's like he's a Sony property. So can they really bring all these guys back? Like even Toby and Andrew, like, can they work it out so that they're in other MCU movies? So like, I guess we can. I'll talk about Doctor Strange later because that's an interesting one. Maybe we see someone in there, especially with who's directing it. But just more of the scenes. Like once like Goblin is finally like in the movie, that's kind of when it starts getting a little bit more suspenseful. Like Willem Dafoe did a great job of performing this character, and like he was scary. Like in the other like movie, like the first movie that he was in with Toby, it was kind of him and Norman combined, right? You saw both the sides. But in this movie, at a certain point, Norman is gone. Like Norman is nowhere in sight. It's fully the Green Goblin, just inside his body. So that's when it got like really intense in that scene at Happy's apartment. But then even then, I think at that point in the movie, I was getting a little bit suspectful of Electro, because he wasn't too sure like what this thing does and if he wants it. Luckily at that point, Doc Ock is like good. He's fine.
Yeah.
Sandman is fine. He just wants to go home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then Lizard wasn't even in the building when everything happened. Like he was like in the truck contained, but I guess he was still a little bit darker. He wanted violence, it seemed. But then so Peter's trying to cure these villains. Which is still a big debate. Like I went to see it with my parents, and my mom definitely sided with Doctor Strange's plan. Like he wanted to just
really
kill them. Yeah.
Send them back
And not risk like literally every other villain coming in and destroying the universe. What's your take on that? Like if they had sent them back to the universe, they probably would have died, right? They would have just lived out their lives and probably get killed by Peter Parker, because Strange said that it's their fate. But Peter's like, nope, we got to try and cure them so that doesn't happen when they get sent back home. What are you doing if you're Peter Parker?
Okay,
What do you do?
So I have 3 things to say about this one first.
Okay.
So first is about Willem Dafoe. The next one is about sending them back.
Okay.
Like which universe they're sent back in, and then I'll answer your question on
Okay.
on what path to take. First of all, Willem Dafoe, outstanding.
Yeah.
I honestly said, like before I walked in, like Willem Dafoe, Green Goblin, probably like one of my favorite villains out there. Like he did such a phenomenal job, and the fact that he even said, "I want to do all my own stunts." Right?
Yeah.
It's no fun. It's no fun when you're not doing your own stunts because you don't get to be the character. And I actually read some other things as well from the cast, and the cast was saying we were actually scared, like when we were filming with him, because he was acting so well, like we were scared.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is just phenomenal. And to see it at his age as well, to even say yes to coming back is a huge step for them, and to incorporate. Oh, he just did a phenomenal job.
Amazing.
Okay,
yeah, definitely. Like, 10 out of 10 performance.
Keep on praising him. Yeah. The next part is sending them back. So question for you, actually. I know how Doctor Strange was saying, we got to send them back. It's their own fate.
Yeah.
Right. So like, is Doc Ock, is Sandman, are they part of Toby's universe, or is it a different universe that also has a Toby lookalike?
I don't think they're part of that Toby's universe. Probably not.
So it's another universe.
Yeah, it would have to make sense because the Doc Ock in Toby's universe, like he died. Like he actually died.
Because they kept saying like even at the end of the movie, you know how Toby and Doc Ock had like a little exchange.
Yeah.
Like, how are you, my dear boy, and so on and so forth. And they knew each other, so they probably just like knew like face wise.
Well, it's also because Doc Ock said like you're all grown up, right? So it can't be the exact same one. Like Toby's obviously aged considerably, right? So
okay, I got you. So
so it couldn't have been that exact one. I don't think.
Okay.
So it has to be variants in different universes.
Okay. And then the other point across about, okay, so now your question, am I on a Peter side or am I on Strange side?
Yeah.
I kind of like Peter's side because it really does show what or who Spider-Man really is and who Peter Parker really is. He's there to help people, and he wants the best of everybody and wants to show the best of himself. And I don't think he interacted with Andrew yet. And Andrew was saying, I got bitter. I pull my punches and stuff like that. Like I was pulling my punches and stuff. Like I wasn't pulling my punches anymore and stuff like that. So it showed that like he still had the good Peter Parker inside of him, saying like, I want to do good. I want to do good, and I want to see if I can help him like make a cure for every single one of them.
Mm-hmm. And
so
like
I'm on Team Peter.
I would say I'm on Team Peter too. And I wish Doctor Strange kind of saw Peter's side a little bit more, because I think he could have helped him out so much and it wouldn't have gotten out of hand, and we might not get the ending that it was if Doctor Strange actually was on Peter's side throughout the movie, because it didn't seem like it was that much work to cure these guys. Like they're trapped. You could have kept them just trapped in Doctor Strange's dungeon the entire time, really. If Doctor Strange was still there, he would have been like, Peter, we're not bringing these guys to Happy's apartment. Are you crazy? Like, we're going to keep them here and then we can cure them. So yeah, I agree with what Peter did. Obviously, like you obviously don't want to just kill these guys, but maybe the way he did it could have been done a lot better. But he's, just a teenager still. He's Peter Parker. He's going to screw it up somehow. But that's, if he just kind of sent them back, then we wouldn't have a movie, right? So yeah, I'm definitely on that side, but it came with consequences. It came with major consequences for both the people that he's close with and then himself at the end. Heading into this movie, who are we thinking was gonna die? Like it was between like Zendaya, like MJ, because like that would have been a meaningful death. I guess Ned too was in there.
Ned was on my I think he was my number one choice.
Number one
Or
choice in that, yeah.
or selection, not choice to die, but
Yeah.
number one person I thought I was gonna die.
Yeah, I thought that made sense too. I wasn't too sure about Aunt May. Like,
Aunt May was up there. I had a feeling that it was Aunt May. When I spoke to you last, I was like, it's Ned, MJ, Aunt May, maybe even Happy,
maybe Happy, yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
we all said that. So
I think
unsure about that.
Yeah, I think we were both saying like if they kill off someone, it has to be like a meaningful death, right? It can't just be like a mediocre character like even Ned, right? What do we care that much if Ned died? I don't know, you know. I don't. It's tough to say. Like Aunt May's death hit us hard, right?
As bad as that sounds,
yeah,
maybe.
yeah, maybe. Yeah, you know what? There's there's a tier list for a reason here. Yeah, and so obviously Aunt May does not make it out of this movie, and as I touched on before, like that scene just dragged on, and it was really sad. And Tom Holland's acting in that scene was unreal. Like it's just you and me, and that's a callback to in Homecoming when May is like wondering where Peter's going at night and where he was. Like this is right after the ferry incident in Homecoming, and he's just like, you can tell me. She's like, you can tell me it's just you and me. And then he says that to her before she dies. And then also the great line right before all this happens, with great power also must come a great responsibility, or also must come great responsibility. Yeah, I didn't like the also in that line. And I remember like tapping you or something like, oh, this is like that was pretty cool. But then also, you know what happens after that? Normally when Uncle Ben says that line, then he dies. So we just got a little bit too hyped, I guess, when she said that. But Marissa Tomei was great. 3 movies as Aunt May, and like she was really the reason why this Peter Parker wanted to cure these villains, right?
Yeah.
So that was the whole motivation. So no more Aunt May. We still don't know what happened to Uncle Ben. We don't really know what happened to his parents yet. So maybe that gets explored in later movies. Moving on to the next scene, which was quite the contrast from tears.
From tears to screaming.
To major screaming. So Ned and MJ are wondering where Peter is, and MJ wants to press the button to send all the villains back home. This is right after Aunt May's death. And Ned's like, I just wish we could see him. And then like you see like the spark of magic coming, and like theater's calm at that point. We're not really suspecting anything. Were you suspecting anything when he said that?
When he said, I wish we could just see him, and he was going like this.
Right.
And then he went like that again. And then he was trying to open like a portal.
Yeah.
I was like, are they gonna go actually see him on like that rooftop he's on?
Yeah.
Are they gonna like go see him or something? But I didn't expect to see these big white eyes.
Yeah. I know.
Turn around, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I know. I think like when I was expecting to see like his face, like Tom Holland's face when they opened the portal.
I see.
But when I saw him in uniform, like from a distance too, like I knew like right away, like that's someone. Like I was pointing at the screen, like that is like someone. And like just the shape of his body, it looked like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. Like geez, that was just unbelievable. And I like how they incorporated Ned's I guess grandma or aunt, or I think his grandma.
His grandmother.
His grandmother in that scene too. That just added some comedy, and she was like scared of him, like throwing the pillow, and she was like she was going like this too. So kind of like just reflecting like the fans' excitement. And then when he takes off the mask, theater just goes absolutely crazy.
Insane.
Go watch the theater reactions. Like there's some crazy ones. The one that you sent me of that one in like France, like everybody's just like on their feet and like phones out, just like recording.
Everybody had their phones out, and everyone's like chanting the names. Like
Yeah.
Andrew, Toby.
Toby.
Yeah.
Luckily, our theater wasn't like that crazy, like with like phones out and
We
everything.
wouldn't have been able to hear the movie.
I don't think they were. Yeah, you wouldn't have been able to hear it.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but it was still just a great environment. And I also have to say, like, our theater was really good. Like, nobody
Oh,
was
it was
out of
great.
hand. Like, we were
No.
like, some people were shouting like right when the lights went down, like before
Yeah.
the trailers started.
Yep.
Right. Like that was good. And then they played the Uncharted trailer as well with Tom Holland, and
Yes.
people were
Yes.
clapping with that. So like yeah, it was just a really cool environment to be a part of. I think it tops the end game experience for me. Just like seeing it in theater, and just that moment of Andrew coming in, and the Toby entrance was also really cool too, because as soon as MJ's like, I guess you just got to keep doing it until we find
Yeah.
the right Peter Parker. It's like, oh, it's coming next.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they kept doing it, like even after Toby, like who shows up after that, they just kept doing it. Maybe
Maybe.
they just settled for two, like two's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they finally meet up, like the three Spider-Man, they meet up. What was your favorite interaction between the three Spider-Men when they finally met up? Like, they went through a lot of emotions. Like, Peter wanted to send them home right away, like as soon as they met up. Like, he was obviously dealing with
in the initial meetup.
the initial meetup. Like, he was like, I'm gonna send you guys home, you shouldn't be here. No, in the whole movie, what was your favorite interaction? Yeah. Not just the sad part.
Okay, because I was laughing because of like the whole interaction, but if you're saying the first part's very sad.
Yeah.
But my favorite interaction was probably, I think that there were two. There was one where 100% everyone knows it was all improv from all of them, where they were like saying that like, oh, there goes my back, and then like the whole conversation starts about like their back, their web shooting, the villains, and all that stuff.
Yep.
So that was one interaction, and my other interaction, hands down, has to be when they were saying, I don't know how to work as a team. Me neither. And then where it's like, I'm Peter 1, Peter 2, Peter 3, Peter 3.
Yeah, Peter 3.
and then he goes, I love you guys. And then they end up going, and then that big jump off the scaffolding. That has to be the best Spider-Man clip ever shot.
Yeah.
Ever.
Well, not even shot, it's CGI, but it's still great.
I'm saying it was shot. It's not CGI. It was all shot.
It was all shot. They all did that jump. Yeah, that was sick. And I read today that Andrew improvised the "I love you guys" line. He improv'd that. Yeah, that wasn't in the script. Yeah. He said he came out with an interview. Not on video, but I guess someone like wrote an article about his experience. So he did answer like 4 or 5 questions about, coming back as Spider-Man, how that was for him. If we're going to see him again as well, he was answering a bit of questions to that. And then, like he was saying that he improvised a line where he said, I love you guys. And that's just crazy to know that he just threw that out there. Like, it wasn't scripted. And then if you go back and watch the movie, like you see after he says that, it switches camera angles to show like Tom and Toby. So I guess they like reshot it again because they probably weren't expecting that line from Andrew.
Yeah.
Because if you watch it,
thank you.
They say thank you at the same time. At the exact same time. And then Peter's like, all right, let's do this thing. And then they just jump off. Oh boy, crazy stuff. And then the final battle happens. Like, the stuff happened a little bit before that, but just watch the movie. We're not going to touch on every single detail. But the final battle was really cool. Just seeing 3-on-3 battle for most of it, and then near the end, once Doc Ock comes and kind of cures Electro and things are looking good, then of course Willem Dafoe comes in, Green Goblin, and kind of just messes everything up. Can the Spider-Man come out to play?
I love it.
Such a good final like act to this movie. And then Strange has been like dangling over the Grand Canyon for like the past few hours, and he finally comes in, and and wants to help out. Or he wants to send them back, I guess. He's like, oh, this is getting out of hand. And then the goblin bomb goes off, and then you see MJ falling after the whole explosion happens, and then you see Peter swoop down, which is what we saw in the trailer. And then at the last second, like he's literally within like inches of her hands, Goblin comes in and just takes him out with the glider. And then there's like, oh, and then they pan over to Andrew Garfield. It's like, yeah, like he doesn't even do anything yet. We just see his face and we know it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And then at that point in the movie, after he saves him, you're like punching my knee.
Yeah.
Like punching my leg. Like that was just so hyped. Such another hyped scene.
I think that has to be also one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
Yeah.
Is just Andrew being able to get redemption.
Exactly.
And I had the excitement because I told you before the movie started, I'm like, Andrew is saving MJ. I am calling it now before it even starts. And I'm like, I will scream his name.
Yes.
Right. I was like,
no,
I will
you're like,
scream
you're going to say like, go Andrew, go Andrew, right? That's what you're going to say.
So it was all quiet when he got hit. And all of a sudden you just hear me, go Andrew.
Yeah.
So really happy. So I had some excitement, and then when he caught her, I had a bit like a small little tear in my eye. I'm like, oh, good for you, but also like, you know what, that hits hard. Yeah.
And then because he starts crying after he catches her as well, and she's like, are you okay? And like exactly, it's a great just redemption arc. And because he didn't really get closure in his 2 movies, like it just ended on like really bad terms. We never knew what happened. And then you find out in this movie that he did get rageful, and he didn't stop. He stopped pulling his punches, right? So obviously it hit him hard, the Gwen Stacy death, and now he was able to help Peter Parker out, Tom Holland's Peter Parker, and he was able to save MJ. So it's good for him, but his story is hopefully not over. Maybe we get another.
I hope not. I really hope not. I really enjoy watching him.
He's a great actor. Like I just watched Tick Tick Boom as well, which I told you about. You got to watch it.
Yeah,
he's a great actor. And the fans love him. Like coming into this movie, I would say the consensus was that he was like the 3rd ranked Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Not in my opinion. I've always said that he's the best. I think Andrew Garfield is the best Spider-Man. Just from the way that he plays the character, his acting ability. Is probably paired with Tom Holland. I think they're both really good actors. Personally, I'm not the biggest Tobey Maguire fan, but I do like the comedic aspect to him. And I think because he was the first Peter Parker, that's kind of the standard that people assumed should be like how he's played. But maybe if he was like the second, maybe people wouldn't like it as much. Personally, it's not really my style, but I still like the movies. But I think everybody really saw what Andrew Garfield was capable of in this movie. He was great. So the lines that he threw in there, just his arc, his story arc is really relatable. And he did a great job. So I hope we do get the Amazing Spider-Man 3 or a Venom cameo or something, or I don't know, something with Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
Because he's great. He's great.
That'd be nice to see. It would be nice to see for sure.
Yep. What was that your favorite part of the movie when they were swinging? That's your number one part?
I think that was like my favorite. I would say my favorite clip. I would say
favorite clip. Yeah.
Like that exact part where like they both were talking, like that whole conversation that happened.
Yeah.
And then they jumped off and they swung. It was like 3-on-3, and then when they landed on top of the Statue of Liberty, all together.
And then they fling back up.
And then they fling back up. Oh yeah, I think that may have been. There's so many great scenes in there. It's hard to pick which one that you like the most, right? But I think that one's up there for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other ones, but I think that one has to just be top of the list for me. Like there was a lot of good scenes, and I liked like even some of the scenes at the beginning of the movie as well were like really well shot. But most of the scenes with the 3 Peters was really good. And I think also just the whole like sequence of them in the school and like working on the cures and the banter between the three of them, and when Ned's like Peter, and then they're all like pointing like which Peter. Yeah, like they're doing the pointing thing. Like that was just really cool to see as well. Yeah, like there were a ton of good scenes. I like the music as well in the movie. There
I
wasn't,
haven't heard much of it.
well, the biggest one would be 3 is the magic number. That's the credit song. So that's
Yeah.
been like on repeat for me. Like that's a really good song, and it was perfect. Then I think the soundtrack though, like there wasn't too many songs at least, but the
Yeah.
soundtrack was really, really good. Like the whole like the Far From Home soundtrack was like the dun 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 dun
Yeah.
dun dun dun. But then this one they've like slowed it down, especially at like the scene that we're going to talk about next, like had some really good music in it. And
Yeah.
they slowed down that entire soundtrack. It's like dun, 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 dun. It's like really, really slow, and it's like really emotional. I'll have
Yeah.
to send it to you. It's called Iraq
Yeah. Yeah.
Noverture. It's on Spotify. It's like a
Okay.
really good soundtrack for that final scene. But yeah, let's talk about this like final sequence with Strange and the spell, because there's some questions that have to be answered with this one.
Yes.
So Peter decides to head up to Doctor Strange because the multiverse is kind of like unfolding. It's breaking. All the villains might be coming in, and he doesn't know what's going on. So he goes up to Strange. Strange is just like, they're all coming here. They're all coming here, and it's because of you. They're coming here because of you. And then Peter's like, what if everybody forgot who I was? Yeah, that hit hard because like there's no,
Yeah.
it's too late in the movie to kind of switch that storyline. As soon as he said that, I was like, oh no, they're actually going to do this probably now. Like there's no
Yeah.
backup option. Like this is how it's going to end. And then Strange is getting, more on board with the idea of doing that, and then he tells Peter like, yeah, if we do this spell, like nobody's going to know that you existed. It's going to be like you never existed. People won't remember you. We won't remember you, is what he was saying.
Yeah.
And Peter's like, do it. Like I'm on board with it. Let's do this thing. So it happens. Very sad goodbyes with Ned and MJ. First of all, like when Ned was crying, because we hadn't seen Ned cry.
Yeah.
Like that hit hard too. Like when he was hugging Peter, like I was crying then. And then saying goodbye to MJ as well. Really sad. And I guess we should mention before saying goodbye to Toby and Andrew, giving them the hug
Yes.
as well was great.
Yeah.
But yeah, they forgot who Peter was to sum it all up at the end here.
Yeah.
Do you think there's still a chance that some people remember him, or do you think Strange may have put an asterisk on this spell, or do you think like really nobody remembers him?
I don't know. I think this is really up in the air. I have a feeling that Strange might know, because in the clip of Doctor Strange, like in the after credits,
Yeah.
He walks up to Wanda and goes, "Have you heard of the multiverse?"
Yeah.
So if he knows about the whole multiverse and what just happened, well, I guess he knows who Spider-Man is. He knows who Spider-Man is, but he doesn't know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Yeah. Like I think,
right, but
I think he knows about like all the events that took place and like what he just did like the past couple days. Same with
right, but he doesn't
Ned
know.
and MJ. But the only thing he doesn't remember is that Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
See, it's so weird. It's so weird and up in the air that like they're all part of that, and they just don't know who Spider-Man is at the end of that afterwards.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe I think Strange may have put like a spell altering the fact that maybe he still knows.
Maybe.
But it's weird to see that MJ was wearing the necklace still.
Exactly. It's like she's wearing a necklace, but she doesn't know how she got it.
Yeah. Or maybe she does, or maybe she got it from somebody else.
Well, she didn't get it from someone else. She definitely got it from Peter. We saw the clip in Far From Home.
Yeah.
Well, actually, technically, okay, hold on.
Like
I just came to a realization here. She actually got it from Happy. Happy was the one that gave her the necklace, so that's probably what she's thinking.
When did
right?
Happy give her the necklace?
When they were trapped inside the castle in London, right?
Yeah.
When because Peter gave the necklace to Happy to say, hey, if I don't make it out of here, can you please give this to MJ? And then Happy's like, don't worry, you'll make it out of here. You'll give it to her yourself. But Peter wasn't able to give it to her himself. Happy gave it to her. And then when MJ ran out to Peter on the London Bridge, she showed it to him, right? Crumbled in her hand. So she got it from Happy, right?
Okay.
So that's
Okay,
probably
I
what
see
she's
now.
thinking, right? She's thinking that Happy gave it to her. And then when she went to the bridge, it was just Spider-Man there, right? Fair?
Possibility here.
Yeah, that's
Oh
actually
my
true. I
God.
didn't think of that before. So maybe she just
This
thinks that Happy gave it to her.
oh,
Yeah. But then also like what happened to like all the photos that she would have of them,
I
right?
know. Would it like disappear, or would it just not
Yeah.
be there? Right. So it's
Yeah, I don't know.
really all up in the air. I think they left it at a really interesting like stopping point.
Because
Right.
so we never really heard the spell that Doctor Strange did at the very end.
Right.
We just
Right.
kind of assumed that it was I want to make everybody forget Peter Parker, I guess, right? Like nobody's gonna remember who Peter Parker is, right?
Yeah.
If it's a multiversal spell though, right? Because other villains were coming in from other universes. Would
Oh
this
man.
spell have like been for the entire multiverse, and would it have
Mm.
affected like a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man or an Andrew Garfield Spider-Man back in their universes as well? So like
Oh
literally
shit.
nobody knows who Peter Parkers are in general. That would
Well,
make sense, right?
I think because he already sent them back. He sent everyone back. So I don't think the spell would have affected all the other universes.
I don't know.
Is my train of thought is that like you sent everyone back, okay, cool, done. But people are coming through and I can't stop it. And he goes,
Wait,
what
no,
will help?
I think it might have all happened at once though,
Oh yeah,
right?
you're
Like
right. No. Yes,
isn't
yes, yes,
isn't it just
yes.
all the same? So like maybe they did go back. Maybe there's you know what? My thinking is that there's probably different parts to the spell. There's probably
Maybe.
different parts. There's the first part where you got to send the villains that got here back. The second part is sending all the villains that were trying to come in here back. And then the third part is making sure that everybody forgot that Peter is Spider-Man. There's like a process here, a step-by-step process to finally get that final result.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Because also if you look at the final scene, like the spell is kind of coming to an end, and MJ and Peter is still looking at each other,
Yeah.
right? Right. And then he gives final Doctor Strange a final like glance, and he's still like holding on to the spell, but that whole like purple wave is gone already. So the villains are gone. The villains that were here were gone. It's just him finalizing the spell now, and then he jumps off. So I'm just trying to
Yeah.
wrap my head around this theory. I think it must have been like a multiple process to finally get
It
this thing to
probably
work.
was. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm still gonna hold on to that theory though, because I think it was a multiversal wide spell that will cause every Peter
Maybe
Parker
actually. Yeah.
to not exist, to not nobody will remember them. Yeah.
Right.
So maybe we see it in like an Amazing Spider-Man 3 or
Maybe,
something.
yeah.
No. Yeah,
That'll be interesting to see.
that will be very interesting. Yeah, we're coming to an end, but I do have a few more questions. What do you think happened to the villains when they returned home? Do you think the cure actually worked on them, or do you still think they would have died?
Oh, what a waste of time, man.
But like, okay, so for example, right, like Green Goblin, when he goes back, is he still in that final fight scene with Tobey Maguire Spider-Man right before the glider comes and hits him and kills him? Or has like the time passed in that universe and he just goes back on a regular day, for example, and it is cured?
Well, maybe that exact scene hasn't happened yet.
Ooh,
in that universe,
maybe.
right? Because he's not from the same Tobey Maguire universe, right? He's from the other, like a different Tobey Maguire
Oh,
universe, right?
that's true. I think that's true.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
So if he just comes in from out of nowhere, see, I spoke to you about this last time too, and it didn't make any sense to me because how Doc Ock was saying that like, I was like battling out with Spider-Man, like I had him by the throat, and then
Yeah,
I'm here,
yeah,
and then I'm like, okay, so like you were literally midway about to like, or you were saying you were gonna kill him,
yeah.
and then Electro said,
Hmm.
I was on the grid and I was getting all this energy, and then
I
I
was gonna
died.
die. Yeah,
I
I was
died.
gonna die.
I was gonna die. I was gonna die. And
Yeah,
I'm
so
like,
that one's a bit more clear. Like the Electro one sounds like he literally got transported like a second before he was gonna die. But
yeah. So Electro was in that one.
The Doc Ock one seemed like there was a little bit more space in between them. But the thing with
Mhm.
Doc Ock as well is like in Spider-Man 2, like Toby kind of cured him already, like in that final sequence. So he was
A
under
little bit, yeah,
like he was under good intentions. That's why he sacrificed
yeah.
himself to save
Mhm.
everybody else in the city. So would the same thing have happened when this Doc Ock got
Ooh.
transported back, right? Might have.
Right. So maybe. Oh, I see what you mean now. Like he has good intentions, and he may say like, okay, I'll just drown it. I'll drown
Unless
the
unless
power of
time
the
has
sun.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. The palm what's that quote? The power of the sun?
Power of the sun in the
The
palm of
palm
my hand.
in the palm of my hand, right? But
Yeah.
but then also if time had passed in that universe, so say like as soon as he gets transported to Tom Holland's universe, like the time is
Yeah.
still going. So there's no Doc Ock. Toby's just there with the machine, and he has to
Everyone would
sacrifice him.
die.
Yeah, everyone dies, or maybe Peter Parker dies in that universe. Maybe Toby
Maybe.
sacrifices himself to drown the water, right, to save the city.
Right. Right.
Um,
Oh my gosh, man.
so then the same
We're
thing would
opening
happen.
up all these different things.
Exactly. Like that's what I'm thinking because the Green Goblin thing, if he goes back at the time of his death, like he's getting killed by his glider. Probably.
Yeah.
And
Like
then
in the middle of the shoot, like in the middle of it. Oh, and then all of a sudden he's gone.
yeah, look, I got the video literally right here. This is what happens.
Yeah.
Just gets transported back and then just dies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so many different possibilities. I hope like maybe Marvel explains some of them, or like Amy Pascal for Sony explains some of these
Yeah.
theories.
I hope so. I hope they explain like some theories involved in this because I think they're leaving a lot of people up in the air with it, right?
Yeah.
Unless they really want people to be left up in the air with these things.
And I think there will be like answers. They could do it in whether that be the next Spider-Man trilogy or in Across the Spider-Verse, the new movie coming out this year in October. Because that seems like it will like incorporate a lot of the things that happened in No Way Home, I'd like to think. And I would consider
Yeah.
that MCU canon now. Like I consider all the Sony stuff MCU canon. Like if you can get Toby and Andrew
Yeah.
into this universe, then the rest is probably gonna translate over at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the future is really uncertain, especially for Tom Holland's universe. And are we gonna see Ned again or MJ again? It's tough to say. Do you think we'll see those two characters in upcoming movies, or do you think they're kind of done now?
Ned and MJ.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. It really. I first of all, I hope Tom Holland does another Spider-Man movie. I
Yeah,
really hope he does. I know he's signed, but that means nothing if you don't see the movie with him, right?
definitely.
So if he does re-sign for another one, I do see them coming back and him trying to like find a way to get it done himself without magic to try to get them to know who he is.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. I kind of see that being a little bit of a storyline and him trying to make it a way, but like trying to find out in a good way without magic.
Here, I have a scenario because like I agree that I think that would just be the perfect ending. Like to have them all remember everything and and they can be friends
Yeah.
again, right? Like you don't want to see them separated. But if you just do that right away in the next movie, then it's like No Way Home's ending was kind of for nothing. Like there was meaning behind what
I
Peter
know.
did,
Yeah.
obviously, right? So like Peter's obviously like his goal was to protect his friends, and he thought that his life was getting in the way of their lives, and he didn't want to put them in danger anymore, which is a good storyline.
Yeah.
Like you ended off that way. Here's my theory. I think you do another Spider-Man trilogy. I think in the first two movies, maybe there's references to Ned and MJ, but or maybe like minimal screen time for them, but you introduce new characters, maybe a Harry Osborn, maybe a Gwen Stacy, maybe you explore more of the multiverse.
Yeah.
And then in the third movie, and this might be pushing it, maybe it's the second movie, because a third movie would be like maybe like 7 years away. Like it's a while to wait, longer than that maybe. But I think you introduce Miles Morales into this universe at some point, maybe in the second, maybe the third movie, because we know he's is existing in this universe. He's
Yeah.
brought up in Civil
Yeah.
War. He was brought up in this movie as well, right? Like Electro teased the Black Spider-Man. So I think he's going to come in at some point. I think they meet. Peter Parker and Miles Morales will meet. And then once Miles becomes good, like a great Spider-Man, like how we saw him at the end of Into the Spider-Verse, then Tom Holland's Peter can kind of retire and settle down and just give up being
Okay.
Spider-Man, knowing that Miles is already going to be there. And
Right.
then he can tell Zendaya. It's kind of like a Captain America moment, right?
Yeah.
Where he
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
just gives up his life and it's like, you know what, I'm selfish now. I want to be with the girl that I love, right? And then also the
Mhm.
best friend that I had. So yeah, I think that could be a nice transition to do it.
Where was the Miles Morales reference in Civil War, you said?
Oh sorry, it's not Civil War, it's Homecoming.
Okay.
You remember it? Or it
I don't
was
think
so
so.
in the garage, when you know the guy from Childish Gambino, I forget his name. What's his name? Aaron Davis is the character's name in Homecoming. I'll look him up. Aaron Davis.
Okay.
This guy.
Oh,
Remember him?
got you. Yeah. Yeah.
In the garage
Yep.
when they were talking, because he was
Yep.
trying to get information from him.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was like, I got a nephew in this neighborhood, that I have to make sure is safe, something like that.
Got you.
So that
Yeah,
was a
yeah,
reference to Miles, but then also there was a deleted scene of him still being like webbed to that car and on the phone.
Yeah.
And he was
Miles.
like,
Say
yeah,
Miles.
he said Miles. Yeah, he said like, sorry, Miles, I won't make it.
Oh.
So Miles is already in the MCU somewhere. We just don't know how old he
Yeah.
is or if he's Spider-Man yet. Probably not. So yeah, that's definitely a possibility. Also, one more theory, because I'll wrap it up here because I think we're both getting a bit tired. we've talked a lot about this movie like over the
Yeah.
course of this year, and then also just doing a podcast to wrap it up. It's a lot.
Yeah.
But in the Doctor Strange trailer, there is a rumor that there's a TVA door in one of the shots. So there might be a connection to the Loki series in Doctor Strange 2.
Ooh.
We might get Tom Hiddleston back as Loki in this movie as well. And it got me thinking. It really got me thinking. If Loki introduces Doctor Strange to the TVA and their whole operations and everything, and maybe he takes him to the whole TVA like building or whatever. You know how in Loki episode 1, the TVA was able to show Loki his entire life, right? On video. Everything that happened, all the scenarios past his existence, right? Past the time that he got to the TVA. So what if they do the same thing for Doctor Strange, right? They show Doctor Strange's life. They show him interacting with unmasked Spider-Man, Tom Holland, right? And they show him doing the spell at the end of No Way Home to make sure that everybody forgets that Peter Parker ever existed. That's how he remembers.
Okay. What if is there a possibility then that, you know how like when in its TVA they have like a branch, right, of like your timeline?
Yeah.
Could Strange have two?
Strange have two. Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
Yes, and like
Wait,
I'm
what do
trying
you
to
mean?
think because like one before the spell was done and one after the spell was done. Was that not possible? Am I just overthinking this now?
No, I think he would just have one.
One,
One.
right? Okay. Okay.
But maybe like it, I don't know. I actually don't
I
know.
don't know, but I like your theory though.
Yeah.
I like your theory.
Like there's a chance that maybe once he did that spell, it became like a Nexus event, and then that line
Yeah.
kind of just like shot up, like how we saw in Loki.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I think there could be some connection there, or just in general, Strange did put an asterisk on the spell so that he would still remember.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's so much history with this Peter Parker and like him becoming an Avenger and everything. Like, is he still an Avenger? Is like if nobody
Yeah.
knows him, are they gonna still let him be that Avenger?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think like if he wants to stay in the MCU, there has to be some interaction with some of these other superheroes, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see how they do it. Yeah, I think those are all the theories that I had. You got any more crazy theories you want to throw out there?
I probably do, but not right now.
You just can't
I
think of them
probably
off the
do.
top of your head.
I can't think of them. I can't think of them. Yeah.
I think like the next Doctor Strange movie is just going to be absolutely insane. Like some of the rumored cast, like Tobey Maguire might be in it. Sam Raimi's
Really?
directing it. So maybe he would like to have his like golden boy back with him for this movie, as in just like a cameo role or something. That would be cool to see. But some of the X-Men might be in it.
Wow.
I've heard a rumor that we might get Tom Cruise as Iron Man. Have you heard this?
No way. No way. What?
Yeah, Tom Cruise Iron Man variant could be in.
I don't like that. I
Doctor
don't
Strange.
like that.
Yeah, maybe like a comedic role, like a comedic Iron Man.
Maybe
Um,
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan
Iron
Reynolds is.
Man.
Oh yeah, that's Iron Man. But we might get Deadpool. Like we could get Deadpool in this movie as well.
That would be nice to see.
Yeah.
I like him.
Yeah,
I like Ryan Reynolds.
it's a good. Ryan Reynolds is great.
Yeah.
And yeah, his character is good. He's coming at some point.
Yeah.
I think I got one final question though, and it's a tough one. It's a really tough one.
All right.
And I know where I stand on this side too.
Okay.
What movie is better, Endgame or No Way Home?
Dude. Oh.
Yeah, it's a money question, you know.
You have me beat, man.
I'm gonna let you answer it first too, because I'm curious to know what you say.
Okay.
You can break it down.
Both,
like, yeah.
Yeah. Both storylines were really good. The thing is that like I think we kind of knew about the whole like Infinity Saga, about like, okay, Infinity War happened, everyone died, or half the people died.
Yeah.
And then Endgame is like, okay, what's gonna happen? Are they all gonna come back, or are they all just gonna stay dead? And that's the end of the movie within like 30 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of think we had a feeling that everyone was gonna come back in Endgame.
Oh,
right?
Sure.
Like
I think so. Yeah.
That was one thing. Everyone's gonna come back, but the question was that who's gonna die in Endgame, and I think that was left up in the air, and it was very, very tough. I think I had never cried in a Marvel movie until Endgame.
And Natasha.
I never saw it. I stayed away from all social media as well from Endgame. And I don't know how I did it, because I wasn't super dug deep at that time.
Yeah.
But I didn't see anything on social media, and I just walked in. And I'm just like, okay, so that happened, and then I think for just Spider-Man, I just had no idea what was happening at all.
Yeah.
So I think from that point of view, I would say Spider-Man on my choice.
Wow, Spider-Man over No Way Home. Yeah, I agree with it, like literally everything you said there. Like the anticipation for this movie was definitely more than it was for Endgame, because for Endgame we kind of knew how it was going to end. Like they're going to win. They're not going to lose here. Like they'll win.
Yeah.
Maybe Iron Man dies because his contract's up. Cap might die as well. Black Widow's death was really surprising, I think. Uh,
Don't get me
yeah,
started.
yeah. I won't get you started. Watch
No.
Hawkeye. Go watch Hawkeye. Go watch Hawkeye. Awesome
Yeah.
references to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, for this one, like we really didn't know how it was going to end, who was going to be in it. Just like we didn't really know much. They were being very secretive with it.
Hmm.
I'll still say Endgame. I think Endgame was
Yeah.
just a great like closure to 10 plus years of Marvel of MCU movies at least. And just to bring in that many characters into one movie was really impressive. Same with Infinity War, like the ability
Yeah.
to bring in that many actors and make the story work was really what was impressive about it. Um, and I think that was good, but and then the Spider-Man movie was also like Spider-Man Endgame, right? But I'll still put Endgame on top of it, but not by much. If I was to do a ranking, I would go Endgame, Infinity War, No Way Home. I think that's my one, two,
Really?
three. Yeah,
Okay. I think I would go No Way Home
yeah,
and maybe Endgame, like maybe tie, but slightly lower.
yeah,
And then Infinity War
yeah. And
as,
that's no
as
discredit
my
to No Way
three.
Home. Like those movies are like my three favorite movies like ever. Like
Oh
those are
yeah.
like top
Yeah.
three. Like yeah, No Way Home was a really good movie. Like it's a perfect movie, but Infinity War is also great and Endgame is also great. Here, I'll change it. I'll go Endgame, No Way Home, Infinity War. Just because
Yeah.
Infinity War we lost.
Yeah.
Yeah. uh this one definitely had the saddest ending though in Marvel movie history, the Spider-Man one, I think too.
Yeah. I think so too.
I think to wrap it up, No Way Home is a perfect combination of Endgame and Infinity War. Throughout the movie, it felt like Endgame, but it had an Infinity War ending. That's the perfect way to just sum it up. Endgame
Yeah.
plot with an Infinity War ending.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that wraps it up. I think like I covered everything that I wanted to touch on. So I think that does it. Xarius, thank you very much for coming on and talking Spider-Man. It's
No
been a
worries.
blast. It's been fun. Thank you guys for listening. I want to hear more theories. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on the movie. Go watch it if you haven't already. What are you doing? You got to go watch it at Actually, you can't watch it anywhere. I'm kidding. Theaters are closed. But stream it on 123 movies. Just watch the guy
Oh
record the
man.
screen. And that's what Farzan did. Farzan was like, yeah, screw it. I'm not gonna I'm gonna, see some spoilers. I don't want to risk that, and I'll watch it on the stream.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it with your friends. And yeah, Unlimited is back. So we'll see you guys with a new episode hopefully very soon. See ya. Peace. Bye.